So there's these series of cases that say you can actually go to court and have your only argument being, look, we don't want to trigger a big tax event, we don't want to trigger E5 or even A1, would you please allow us to extend our vesting date because that'll avoid the tax issue and potentially a stamp duty issue. And there were probably about 4 or 5 cases where the court said, yep, that's fine, away you go. We're going to extend the vesting date for you and that's all fine. This case is in fact the opposite. So I've tried to, I don't know if I've quite fitted this into, my dates might not be right because I've done it from memory, but it'll give you a sense of it. There was a trust set up back in I think the 1970s. It didn't actually have a vesting day, which is not unheard of, although is, I would accept, quite unusual. In 1983 the Set Law came along and said, you know what, we really should have a vesting date, and they chose a date in 2016 to be the vesting date. Now I've put in red 2 other important points. Before we get to those, what then happened in the 1990s that there was some variations done to the trust, primarily driven by a financier, but there were separate variations done by the trust which the Set Law signed off on. Now the 2 relevant points in red are as follows. The first one was that the Set Law was dead, at some stage after these variations but before the vesting date. The other really important point in red was that in the middle of this we had 1985 pass us by, being introduction of capital gains tax. Now what the court said in this particular case was that because the Set Law had put the vesting date in 1983, in other words before capital gains tax, because the Set Law was still around when variations were done in the 1990s, the trustee can't now turn up, now that the Set Law's dead, the trustee cannot turn up in 2015 and say, oh look, we're worried about this multi-million-dollar tax bill, can you please extend the vesting day out to the maximum of 80 years? If the Set Law really thought that was important, the Set Law had all of this time period, 1985 all the way through to the date of death. They were active with the trust because they had actually gone and done some variations. If the Set Law really saw that as an issue, they should have dealt with it.